everyone, it's Evelyn, and in this week's video we're going to dig up all the ranunculus and the anemones and put them out to dry for storage later on. I'll show you how I store them, but they need to dry before I do store them. How I'm going to separate the colors is I've just got a 10 by 20 gridded tray, and I've put whatever I had available in it. A couple of these 4-inch peat pots somebody gave me, a couple of little blueberry pots. I think strawberries came in this one, kind of larger peat pot. So I can do some dividing into those ones. And I've got another 10 by 20 tray, which is 3 of these larger peat pots that somebody gave me. And the other tool I need is a little spade to dig them up. And we're all ready to go. Before we start doing that, I'm just going to show you some of the few things that are blooming in the yard because they're so pretty. So here, where's my hand? These are my double click pink cosmos. I'll put the name of them on the screen. They're so beautiful. I mean, I don't like cosmos, but these double click ones are gorgeous. Just tucked in beneath them is a self-seeded globe thistle. They're quite prickly and they last in bouquets, but they're a pain in the ass to use, so I don't use them. However, the bees love them. And then over here I have my double click white cosmos, and I'll put the name of them on the screen as well. Still got lots of bee balm, but I'm not using that right now either. And look at this, my oh, now I forgot what it's called. I'll put the name of that on the screen as well. The bulbs that I got for free in the spring, they're now blooming. They're really pretty. They do have a downward facing slant though, so when you're standing up you don't get to really appreciate them. This is one of my oreganos that's blooming. It's really pretty and it lasts well in bouquets as well, so I'm really sold on using oregano in bouquets, although I'm not using it right now. I also have a white one, and I'll go show you that one. So this is the white oregano. I have the names of both of them. I will have put the purple one already on the screen, and I'll put the white one on the screen now. It's not as good in a bouquet as the purple one, and yet it's also usable. And then of course my Russian sage is now blooming, and I have used a couple of these spikes in bouquets when I need to put them together really quick, because this part of the garden is pretty close to my bouquet making station. Just give you an up close look at what the fronds look like. And they're nice long stems. So they go up to my, this one goes up to my waist. The sweet peas are still blooming away. Now I don't use these in my $20 bouquets either. But the thing is the sweet peas, the Russian sage, the oreganos, they can all get used in custom bouquets when people ask me to put together a birthday or anniversary bouquet and they want a higher price tag. So that's actually when I like to really use the sweet peas at this time of year. Not so pretty, but I wanted to point out, if you see leaves like this, where there's like little half circles cut out in the leaves everywhere of the plant, this is a weed, so it's a good one for them to choose. Don't panic. That's the leaf cutter bee. And what they do is they take these little half circles that they cut and they roll them up into tubes, put their eggs in a tube and bury them in the ground. And I know that because I disturbed a leaf cutter bee when I was digging in the ground late last summer. Oh, I was so upset with myself. All of a sudden these little tubes of leaves came up and I just like completely destroyed the nest that he'd been making with all of his tubes and eggs. I tried to patch it up as best I could. I'm hoping that I did, and I'm hoping these are from his offsprings, because where I disturbed it was literally right there. Okay, back to digging up the ranunculus. Got my spade. I'm literally right beside one of my Russian sages. I'm going to pull out this little fence that I've got here that helps the dogs know where not to go, although I'm the one that usually trips over it. Now you can see I still have all of my markers showing the colors of the ranunculus without a ranunculus in sight. I pull up a few weeds. You'll see the ranunculus is completely gone. That's a foxglove, so I won't be pulling that up. That's a foxglove there too. This is a bee balm. I can pull that up. I got lots of those. Once I pull everything up, I will pull all the weeds up. But I have, oops, sorry, I have this tag pointing toward, as in the white side, pointing towards where the ranunculus is. So I should be able to just slide my shovel in here and pop it out, and there it is. There's my ranunculus. So I'm going to put it in, I know I have a lot of the orange, so I'm going to put it in one of the bigger containers. Oops. Take the label that I pulled up and put it in there with it. Okay, I'm back here. I had to turn you off for a sec, just so that it's easier for me to see when I don't have the camera going. So I pulled up one, it was there. I pulled up two, they were not there. The fourth one I pulled up, which is a pink one, it's there. What did I do with it? There it is. So I'll put that one aside in its own compartment. I think what I'm going to do is just go through the bed and dig them all up, because it's really hard for me to look in the camera to see what you're seeing and dig them up. So I'll get back to you once I've dug them all up, and I'll compare notes with how many weren't there and how many were, because of course everyone has a tag, so I'll know how many didn't make it. Okay, I dug them up. It was much easier to do when I could see what I was doing, because I could actually see where the ranunculus was because of the little stump. So it went really, really fast. I mean, I don't think I was working for more than 10 minutes to clean out the entire bed. I did have a couple of more duds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 5 didn't make it. I'll switch the camera around so you can see as I stand up, so you can see how I basically stored them all by color right now. Just one sec. Okay, in my initial sweep through, I've just got all these things. I got all the red ones in here. You can see they're already starting to dry a bit. Then I've got white. I've got, what's in there? I got white in there too for some reason. I've got blue in that one. I've got an unknown in this one. I've got the ones that didn't make it. Lots of orange, lots of pink, and those are the picote ones that I bought in the spring. So those are all the ranunculus. I'm going to put those all out to dry now, and then I'm going to swing around and do my anemones that are along this row. So here you can now see that the bed is all being emptied out. Yeah, cool. Look what else I dug up. A carrot. I'll probably clean that off. Teeny tiny carrot. Our dogs like carrots. I'll hose it off and give it to the dogs. Okay, I'm going to go get those things into a place to dry off, and I'll start on the anemones. So I have the 2 trays. Oops, where am I here? So you can see here drying. They're on the sideways strawberry cage, because if I switch you around, the strawberry cages are no longer over the strawberries, because I've got successions of sunflowers growing through them. There's the one that was before this one. You can see all the strawberries below them. And that one was the one before this one, which is just starting to grow. Clearly I can't keep the strawberry cages on top of the strawberries when I got sunflowers growing through them. So I've got one cage just over here, not taking up much room, on its side, where I can put things on here to dry. And right now I have the 2 things of ranunculus. Now I got to get a couple of trays and do the anemones. Okay, so I got 2 trays because I only have 2 colors. I've got blue and I've got crimson, and then I've got one little red one which is still blooming. It's the only red one that came up, so I'm just going to put it in this one little container by itself. Now again, it's too hard for me to dig them up while I'm filming, so I will start digging them up and show you what I've got. Next year I'll probably have better equipment and can do a better job. Actually, I thought I'd film one just so you can see it coming up. So I got my shovel with dirt stuck to it. I've got where the label is. These are all the crimson ones here. I'm going to go in here and see what I can pull up. Now these were in the ground over the winter last year, so the clumps should be bigger. You can see I've got, I don't know how well you can see in all that dirt, but there's at least 3 clumps for that one. And this is going to be hard to do with the camera, but I just wanted to show you how easy they do come up. Down here. And yeah, that was difficult to see. I think that's another one right there from that clump. Difficult to see when I'm filming. So I am going to stop the camera. My hands are all muddy anyway. I don't want my camera to get all mucky. Whoops, as I spin it around. And show you what I got at the end. Well, that was disappointed. Of all the crimson ones, this is not much that I got in here. Now, bear in mind, these were planted not this year, but last year. And I left them in the ground and they all came back. But still, that's not very many. And then of the blue ones that I bought in the spring, that's it. That's it. That's all I got. Not very happy about that. I'll put those away to dry, and then I will show you once they're dry how I'm going to bag them up. So happy to be in the shade again, because man, it's hot down in my garden there. So takeaways from digging up my ranunculus and my anemones. Disappointed with the anemones. I was so excited because I hadn't dug them up the previous year, and then they bloomed again this year. So I ordered more because I thought, wow, these are a great low maintenance kind of corm. And but as you saw, when I dug them up, and some of them looked like they were going to be huge clumps, there wasn't much there. So I think what I'm going to do next year, with the few that I dug up and with the ones that I ordered, is not actually plant them in the garden, but plant them in some sort of small containers, so that it's just easier to see what I have. I may just sell them all, I don't know, because that wasn't very a good return on investment, even though it was the second year for those corms. But the ones that I bought in the spring as young plants, none of those did well at all. So yeah, not happy with the anemones, even though I was so happy with them earlier because they seemed so low maintenance, having not dug them up the previous year. Ranunculus, a different story. I didn't buy any ranunculus for this year. I bought them the year before in the early spring, planted them, they bloomed great, dug them up, and when I started them again earlier on in the season, I'll put the link to how I start my ranunculus in the description box below. I ended up with a lot more corms than what I had bought the previous year. So the financial return on them was already really, really good for the second year's worth of blooms. And I dug up almost all of them. There was just 6 that weren't dug up. And those 6, you know, still left me with far more than I had initially purchased. So the ranunculus were great. I'm really, really happy with those. Anemones, not so much so. So we'll see how I decide over the winter how I'm going to deal with that with the corms that I bought from my the anemones that I bought. Bad, I'm forgetting everything that I have right now. It's the white ones with the blue center. I'll put the name on the screen with a picture up above so that you just to remind you if you saw it, and if you haven't seen it, what it was that I bought for planting out this upcoming spring. Anyway, as you saw, I put them out to dry on top of the sideways strawberry cages. When they're dry, what I'm going to do is just by color, just put them in a standard paper lunch bag, label it, roll it down, and then for the ranunculus, I will layer the bags in a larger, like paper bag from a grocery store. And in the layering of them, I'm also going to sandwich them in between wood flakes, as you can see in this plastic bag, because they're light and they're fluffy, and they just help control the temperature in the bag as well as the humidity. Now we're lucky we have a planer, so all of my wood chips come from our planer, and they're mostly all fir chips, although some of them are pine chips. If you don't have access to a planer, the best place to go is to a place that sells pet bedding. So like for a small pet store, that would be like for gerbils or rabbits, I don't know, whatever, and they sell bags of wood chips for their bedding. But of course, if you're more out to the country, you can go to more of a larger place that supplies farms, etc., and you can get much bigger bags of wood chips for bedding, and they work great too. But I really like the fir chips that we have. Just gonna take a handful out and show you why I like them so much. There. Can you see how fluffy that is? Look at that, that's just beautiful. The flakes are just so light and so fluffy. Of course, I'm dropping them all over our deck right now. And if you squish them down, they just bounce right back up, unlike sawdust, which compacts. So I really like that. That's how I store all my dahlias as well. And that's what I will put in the larger grocery bag style paper bag with the lunch bags inside, layered in with all the wood chips for more of a climate control. And yeah, and then they'll stay like that until comes over the winter, until come spring, when it's time to take them out and start them up again. Like I said, I'll put a link below for starting Ranunculus. And is there anything else I should put a link? Yeah, I think I'll put a link down below for the bulbs that I'm buying that will get shipped out this fall, because that talks about why I'm buying the anemones, etc. Anyway, I'll put that down below as well. So that's it for this week's video. I have no idea what next week's video is going to be all about. Please like if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe if you haven't. And just a little bit of extra information, Leela and Esri, who have not been in this video today, turned 3 on August 1st, so they're starting to grow up. Anyway, until next week, bye.